Welcome back to Philosophy Breakdown. Today, we embark on a journey through the philosophical landscape of Socrates, an iconic figure whose influence on Western thought cannot be overstated. Socrates was born around 470 BC in Athens, Greece, during a period of great cultural, political, and intellectual revolution. This period, known as the Classical period in ancient Greece, saw the city-state of Athens rise as a significant power, both militarily and culturally. Socrates grew up in a society that was in the throes of profound changes. Athens had recently established itself as a dominant force after the Greco-Persian Wars, and this was a time when the classical Athenian democracy was beginning to take shape. During this period, Athens became a hub for artists, poets, and thinkers, sparking a cultural and intellectual flourishing that laid the foundations for Western philosophy, science, and arts. Although Socrates was born into a relatively modest family, he had access to the intellectual stimulation offered by Athens' vibrant public life. He was known for spending his days in the markets and public areas of Athens, engaging with people from all walks of life. From artisans to statesmen, he questioned their understanding of concepts such as justice, love, and virtue. Despite his profound impact on philosophy, Socrates wrote nothing himself. What we know about him comes from the works of his students, notably Plato, and contemporaries such as the historian Xenophon and the playwright Aristophanes. His continuous questioning of Athens' citizens and criticism of the democracy eventually led to his trial and execution in 399 BC. He was charged with impiety and corrupting the youth, standing firm by his beliefs. Socrates chose to drink the poisonous hemlock rather than renounce his philosophical inquiries or escape from prison, as he could have done. Socrates was a product of a vibrant, dynamic society full of political and intellectual discourse. His unique approach to philosophy, embedded in the very fabric of Athenian society, would later become one of the cornerstones of Western philosophical tradition. Perhaps the most iconic contribution from Socrates is the Socratic method, or relentless. It's a form of dialogue where Socrates would engage his conversation partners in deep, probing questions. The goal was not to directly provide knowledge, but to expose the contradictions in their beliefs, urging them to question their assumptions and encouraging a state of aporia. This method was used to stimulate critical thinking and to illuminate ideas about ethics and morality. Socrates famously proclaimed that virtue is a form of knowledge. He believed that nobody willingly does evil, and if a person does something wrong, it's due to their ignorance. Thus, if one truly understands the nature of virtues like justice, wisdom, and courage, they will not act unvirtuously. Socrates emphasized the importance of caring for one's soul more than wealth, reputation, or even the body. To him, the state of the soul was directly connected with one's moral and intellectual integrity. He firmly held that it's better to suffer an injustice than to commit one, as committing an injustice harms the soul. A significant part of Socrates' philosophy was challenging established norms, traditions, and beliefs. He was known for questioning everyone, including the politicians, poets, and craftsmen of Athens, to reveal their lack of understanding. Socrates famously declared, "The unexamined life is not worth living." He believed in constant self-assessment and introspection to lead a life of virtue and wisdom. It's important to remember that most of what we know about Socrates comes from his student Plato's writings. Some scholars argue there might be significant differences between the historical Socrates and Plato's portrayal of him. The principle often attributed to Socrates is the idea that an unexamined life is not worth living. This famous phrase was purportedly his defense when he was on trial for corrupting the youth, not recognizing the gods recognized by the state, and introducing new deities. The phrase is reflective of Socrates' commitment to personal and philosophical self-examination. The principle holds a profound significance in both personal and societal contexts. It represents the importance of seeking to understand our actions, decisions, and the world around us. Socrates believed that the purpose of human life was personal and spiritual growth. We are unable to grow toward greater understanding of our true nature unless we take the time to examine and reflect upon our life. In the realm of ethics, this principle underscores the necessity for moral responsibility. It implies that individuals should examine themselves, questioning their own assumptions and beliefs to ensure that they are justified. The unexamined life, in this context, can lead to thoughtless harm or the unquestioned acceptance of harmful societal norms. By examining our lives, we can become more aware of the values and principles that guide us and be more mindful of our actions in alignment with those values. This Socratic insight is as relevant today as it was in ancient Greece, emphasizing the ongoing need for self-reflection, critical thinking, and personal growth. Socrates, though he wrote nothing himself, is arguably one of the most influential philosophers in the Western tradition. His legacy is a rich and vast one, permeating various facets of society, culture, and intellectual thought, primarily preserved through the accounts of his students like Plato. Socrates' teaching style, characterized by his practice of questioning people to reveal their implicit contradictions, is known as the Socratic method, or dialectic. This pedagogical approach fosters critical thinking and illuminates ideas, assumptions, and beliefs that might otherwise remain unexamined. It's used today in a variety of settings, from classrooms to corporate boardrooms to foster problem-solving and in-depth understanding. Socrates' conviction that knowledge and morality are interconnected had a profound influence on ethical thought. His belief that nobody willingly does evil, and people who do wrong are simply in a state of ignorance, introduced a new perspective on personal responsibility and moral virtue. His famous paradoxes, such as "I know that I know nothing," highlight the importance of humility in the pursuit of knowledge and the recognition of one's own ignorance as a starting point for learning. His ideas and methods greatly influenced his pupil Plato, who would become one of the most significant figures in Western philosophy. Plato's student, Aristotle, also felt Socrates' impact, creating a direct line from Socrates to much of the later philosophical tradition. Socrates' trial and his acceptance of the death penalty reflect his beliefs in autonomy and ethical commitment, leading him to become an iconic figure in the discourse on civil disobedience and martyrdom for a cause. In a nutshell, Socrates has left an indelible mark on the course of Western philosophy, pedagogy, and ethical theory. His commitment to questioning, to rigorous self-examination, and to living a virtuous life continue to echo through history, challenging each new generation to introspection and understanding. As we delve into the world of Socrates, it's not immediately obvious how his philosophy intertwines with the philosophy of Nocturnity. But like any rich tapestry, there are threads that link the two, creating a deep and nuanced connection. At the heart of Socratic thinking, just as in Nocturnity, is a deep respect for and pursuit of knowledge. Socrates asserted that an unexamined life was not worth living. Similarly, Nocturnity encourages the constant questioning and challenging of our beliefs, pushing us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world. Socrates' famous dictum "Know thyself" aligns directly with Nocturnity's emphasis on self-awareness and introspection. Both philosophies see self-awareness as the cornerstone of a meaningful and fulfilling life. Socrates' admission of his own ignorance, symbolized by the phrase "I know that I know nothing," reflects a humility that is also integral to Nocturnity. It acknowledges the vastness of the universe and the limitation of human knowledge, calling for a humble approach to learning. Socrates believed in the importance of living a virtuous life. Likewise, Nocturnity promotes living ethically and responsibly, emphasizing the interconnectedness of all beings and our duty to each other. Socrates' courage, as demonstrated in his trial and acceptance of his death sentence, aligns with Nocturnity's idea of courageously confronting life's challenges and staying true to one's beliefs, even in the face of adversity. In essence, Socrates' philosophy, with its emphasis on knowledge, humility, self-awareness, ethical living, and courage, mirrors several core aspects of Nocturnity. His timeless wisdom continues to resonate, informing and enhancing the philosophy of Nocturnity in profound ways. Join us in embodying the Socratic approach to life. Seek wisdom, question assumptions, and remember, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. As we walk the path of Nocturnity, let's embrace Socratic humility and curiosity, forever seeking truth in the shadows. Thanks for joining us on this philosophical exploration. If you enjoyed this journey through Socrates' life and philosophy, please like, share, and subscribe for more philosophy breakdowns. And remember, always question, always seek, always grow.